Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be taking you guys an introductory class to Jupyter Notebook for beginners. So the first thing you need to do is you need to install Jupyter Notebook on your system. There are actually two ways of doing this and I will recommend the second one. But let's try out the first one. The first one is you need to open your Jupyter Notebook, the official website, and you can just come to install here and scroll down to the Jupyter Notebook and copy this line of code here and come to your window commands prompt, and paste that code here, and click enter, and Jupyter Notebook will be installed on your system. The second way is you downloading Anaconda, which is what I recommend most, because when we download Anaconda on your system, Anaconda will install so many other features that you need, such as the sci the spider, the numpy. This is actually an IDE. This numpy here is a library for multidimensional array. It will install so many other libraries such as pandas, matplotlib, and all that. And once you do this, you don't have to manually install other packages because most recommended packages will be installed together with this particular Anaconda here. And this is the second way. This is what I recommend for everybody. If you want to use Jupyter Notebook, download Anaconda and install, and Jupyter Notebook will be installed on your system as well. That being done, now how do we launch Jupyter Notebook? There are also two ways. I recommend the first way here. You just come to Jupyter, you can come to Jupyter Notebook here and hit enter, and the Jupyter Notebook will load onto your browser. Just hold on for some few seconds. It will generate. First of all, if you come here, you will see it will generate the URL for you. You can just copy this URL here. If it doesn't open to your browser, just copy this URL here and paste, and the local host will load on your browser. This is actually the first way. The second way to run Jupyter Notebook is you opening the Anaconda prompt. You just open this Anaconda prompt here. Look at it here, and from this place you can just write Jupyter Notebook, and you click enter, and Jupyter Notebook will also load to your browser. This is the second way of doing it. But why do I recommend the first way? The reason being that when you launch Jupyter Notebook alone like this, once you run the Jupyter Notebook IDE alone like this, if you need any other package, for instance, you are running a particular program, you're running particular lines of code, and Jupyter Notebook return an error that this particular library is not found, you can just come back to your Anaconda here and counter install that particular library, or you can do install that particular library. Instead of you installing it on your Jupyter Notebook, your work will be formatted neatly. So once you launch Jupyter Notebook, this is the interface. This is how it looks like. It loads most of your documents from your system. So most of the files from your system, I mean. So here we created a file in document. So we'll just open this document. That file is in data science, and the file we created was introduction to Jupyter Notebook. So once we open this file, when we open this folder, this is how it will look like. You can create so many folders, and once you do that, it will be launched into Jupyter Notebook. Will launch all of them together. So for instance, we created a folder manually in our document. You can see the directory here in data science, and the folder's name was introduction to Jupyter Notebook, and we added one CSV file there manually. From here, we can also create so many other folders. Let me show you how to do it. Just have to come to this place here. You can either create a text file or a folder. So let's click this folder here, and you can see our folder has been added. So how do I name this folder? Just have to come here and check this particular line here. Come to this side and click on rename. And let's rename this one to dataset. And you can see it has been named dataset. So now I can move this one here into my dataset. Let me try it and see if it will work. Okay, let's we have to check this first, then we'll move it. Let's move it to dataset, and let's click enter, and you can see our CSV file has been successfully moved into dataset here. So you see, this is how you do it. Let's go back to this place here, and we can create so many files. For instance, let's say we want to add a readme file. We can come here, open that CSV file here, and we'll rename it from this extension to readme. Let me readme dot md. When we hit enter, you will see from csv file it has been changed to a readme file. And adding the Python Jupyter notebook itself is this first one here, this ipy canal. Just click on it and it will open another new fresh tab on the browser for you. Hold on for some few seconds while it loads. And this particular readme here, what it does is that you can describe all your works here. For instance, I want to add a heading. I can just add a heading here, and I will say introduction. And I will say introduction to Jupyter Notebook. Sorry. Notebook, and you can see this is how you format all your code here and explain so many things we are doing in this place, and we can save it. Let's come back to this place. This is how the Jupyter notebook looks like, and you can see these are the cells that you can add the cells manually or using a window short command. Let me show you how to add the cell manually. The first way to add cell manually is you can come to this plus button here and click on it, and you see the cells will increase. The second way is you can hold your Alt key and enter, and you see another cell will be added. That is the two ways of adding cells in Jupyter Notebook. So let's just do some little coding here and see how this Jupyter Notebook works. The first one is we have a CSV file. If you come here, we have a CSV file in dataset. So let's try to import this particular CSV file here. So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to format our lines of code, so that other people who want to read our code will know what we are doing. The first way to do it is you can come here, come to this upper side here. This cells is actually in the code mode now. Anything I write here, Python will see it as a code. I can change it. If I want to format it now, I have to come back here and change it to a particular feature called Markdown. Once I do that, I can easily go on and write what I want to write here. So let's add the first one here, which is import library. The library that we need to actually read this data set here. So let's come to this place, and here we just hold our Alt enter because we want to create more files, and you see now it has formatted it properly. So here let's import a library, which is import pandas as speedy. So that has been imported. So we'll hit enter again, it will be imported. So now we need to read the CSV file. So let's come back here and add another markdown. Here we'll just say read CSV. We need to add our asterisk here so that the format very well. Enter. Okay, you can see that these asterisks are not equal. Here we have 5, while here we have 4. So let's add another one, and let's run it again. It will format linearly, and here you can see we have 1 and 2. So now let us read the file. We can call it such as let's say pd read CSV, and the CSV file is in dataset, and it is called cells April 2019. So if I hit enter now, you will see that the dataset will be loaded inside our Jupyter notebook. Let's save it in a data frame. Let's say df equals this. So if I run it now, it will load again unless I call that data frame. So let me return data frame. And now, as you can see, this is how you run your code in Jupyter notebook. Just very simple, and you are already there. So let's just return the head. Let's say the first, want to return the first 10 rows. And let's hold our Alt. If you want to run Jupyter notebook and remain on this particular one here, I will explain down below. Let's just run this, and you can see it as a return the first 10 rows. So now if I want to execute this particular line of cell and still remain on this line of cell, what I need to do is I'll just hold my control and enter, and instead of it moving to the next line, it will still remain here. For instance, let me show you an example. Let's say we want to check the shape of this particular data set. Let's say the shape. I'll hold my Alt, my Control, and Enter. That was, I think that's error. My Alt and Enter. And you can see this is the shape. And you can see that the line execute and it didn't move to another line. But if I come here and hold my Alt and Enter, it execute this line and move to another line. One of the advantages of doing this is maybe you want to correct a code within a code. So instead of you adding a new cell in between, you can just hold the Alt and hit Enter and it will enter and it will run. So basically, these are some of the things you can do with Jupyter Notebook. Uh, I will create another video in which I will explain to you how to add extensions to Jupyter Notebook and help you code faster. For the introductory part, this will be all. Um, Thank you for watching this video. Stay blessed.